First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, Delaware. My name is James Moser. I'll be your worship associate this morning. It is? Yeah? Okay. Sorry about that. See, it worked during warm-up. Which one? There. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, Delaware. I'm James Moser, your worship associate for this morning. We welcome those of you here in the room and those of you who are viewing remotely. Together, we are a worshiping community, a community of caring and of sharing one another's joys and sorrows, of holding one another in love and also in trust. Our Unitarian Universalist Soul Matters theme for September, which I know doesn't start till tomorrow, but we're running out of August. So the September theme for Soul Matters is building belonging. Here at First U, we often speak of our ongoing theme of welcoming. That's the first step. You're welcome here regardless of age or race, physical limits, gender, economic condition, previous religious experiences, or whom you love. And what are you welcomed to? You're welcomed to an invitation to belonging, to become part of us. We will welcome at this point in time, and I'll invite you first to share a wave to those of us viewing online, to that little camera on the wall. Good morning to you folks. And now would you share a greeting, welcome with one another. No, I'm not. So all are welcome and all are invited to connect with some part of our ministry in this beloved community. In the parish hall following the service, you'll find a welcoming table. There's a great big banner that says welcome, and there you can learn more about opportunities to hopefully find your own niche at First U, and with others around you in our church family. That's where you can begin to experience UU belonging. And be sure to sign up for our weekly e-news to stay in touch with the many things, so many more things than can be mentioned here that are going on at the church. A lot of great happenings. This morning, we welcome David Hearn, our organist, back to caress the keys of our unique tracker organ. And we welcome Cindy Cohen, who continues to be our song leader. And we welcome our own Kate Franta, who will bring us a message about life's pilgrimage and then what. Let us prepare our minds and hearts and spirits for the gifts we are about to receive.
Good morning. I am Kate Franta, and it is my pleasure to be with you today and have you here all together. As we gather, may we acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Lenni Lenape Nation. May we respect their ongoing connection to this place and all the beings that this land supports: the trees, the waterways, the rocks, the winged ones, the insects and the creepy crawlies, the four-leggeds, the swimmies, and our human neighbors. With open hearts and open minds, let us gather together in harmony with ourselves and with each other and keep our circle wide, inclusive, and welcoming.
Here in the sanctuary this morning, if you have a chalice at home, we invite you to ignite it along with us. We ignite this chalice flame, remembering those who have gone before us in service and faithfulness and even sacrifice. The work of their lives still echoes in ours as we seek to follow the light. Please rise now in body and spirit to sing our hymn and then remain standing if able for our shared affirmation. Please join me in affirming our mission. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action. You may be seated.
And now, let us move into a meditative and prayerful space. Get your bodies comfortable, however that may be for you. Think of your favorite place in nature. Put yourself there. Is it sunny? Can you see the sky? What is under your feet? Earth, sand, stone, wood? How does the air feel? Is it still? Is it dry? Is there a breeze? What is the quality of the light? The time of day? What do you hear? water in motion, birds, trees talking with each other through their leaves in the wind. Place yourself there and just be. Feel it, smell it, hear it, taste it, and see it in your mind's eye. And just be. And each week we take some time to unburden ourselves and feel the power of how this beloved community can help share the weight of the load that we carry, the burdens that are in our hearts and in our heads. So in a moment, I'll ask you if you would like to share what may be heavy on your heart. If you're online watching, you may type it in the chat. And we will start with this side. Please call out if there's anything that you would like witnessed and held by this whole community that weighs heavy on your heart. Ukraine. And Gaza. And in the middle? Susan. Say that again. Health condition of, okay. School lunch debt. Our local immigrant families, loss of memory. Gaza again. And this side. Jamaica. By sharing these concerns, the whole community then can help hold what is heavy for us. And may all those who were named under our concerns find peace and healing and the love of this community. But we don't stop with our concerns, we also mention our joys, because there are things that give us hope and joy, and if we share those, then we also are sharing hope and joy. So again, we'll start on this side. Hummingbirds. And in the middle, the beautiful weather, the lack of humidity. New baby. Visiting adult children. Love it. What was that? And on this side, any joys?
Our granddaughter flies to Italy for a foreign studies semester.
Granddaughter studying in Italy. Wonderful. Wonderful. So nothing is all fully heavy and nothing is all fully light, but together we hold these in our hearts and as a community. May all find peace and healing this day.
The reading today is from Patricia Ann Davis, a Choctaw Navajo wisdom keeper from the Indigenous Wisdom Institute. She is describing the beauty way, or in Navajo, Hozho, which means natural order. Quote, "We all exist in the natural order, the four directions, the four seasons, all being born of a mother, being held to earth by gravity, being warmed by the same sun. Belief systems do not change these natural laws that govern us. Being fully inclusive, the natural order is the foundational design that clearly shows us the natural state of living in thriving balance and reciprocity with all life. Universal indigenous wisdom is an ancient living knowledge and wisdom base, aligning humans to make win-win, life-affirming, co-creative choices within the natural order. This is not a theory, a philosophy, or a mysticism teaching even. This is a tried and true method practiced for thousands of years by all indigenous cultures. The natural order is the foundational design that clearly shows us the natural state of living in thriving balance and reciprocity with life."
Thank you, James. So, this natural order that Patricia Ann Davis writes of is also translated as the beauty way. It is living in harmony with all of life and living a life that brings forth the good from oneself and from others. I find it similar to the Eightfold Path of Buddhism. There's no quiz on what all 8 of those are, but if you can keep track, it is right speech, right livelihood, right intention, right view, right action, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. But the beauty way is not quite the same. There's something for me about the Navajo embracing the word beauty that resonates in a less esoteric, more like primal level. So these are my musings, and I wonder if any of them will resonate with you. As Rebecca Fisher led her sermon last month, she started with a disclaimer that she was not an expert, but speaking from her own perspective and experiences. I make the same disclaimer today as we focus on a specific type of journey called a pilgrimage, what it is, and why one might undertake it, and what happens when a pilgrimage is over. So we're going to see some pictures. This is Tibet, the Jokong Temple. Now, this is a pilgrimage. Many Tibetan people save their whole lives just to make the trip here, and some actually do full body prostrations for the entire length of the journey. And then when they get to the temple, they don't go in. They do 108 full body prostrations before they enter. Now that is a dedicated pilgrimage. In June this year, our vacation was a pilgrimage across and around the country. We drove with Bryce, Zion, and the Grand Canyon as our furthermost points to visit, and then we returned via a different route. Some of the places were familiar, but all of those national parks were new to me. This trip was with both my business partner, Barbara, and my son, who is now 13. My intention was to give me and Barb a prolonged time out on the various big, wide lands, and to give my son the opportunity for a bit of a coming-of-age journey, I even carefully and foolishly prepared thought-provoking questions and lists of values, all inviting him to delve into what values that matter most to him right now and what he is embracing at this time of his life. Well, many of you have had an opportunity to parent a 13-year-old, and you are giggling at how that probably went. Yes, so most of those questions went out the window as the trip moved along when we realized there were so many moving parts, so many details in getting across the country and back with camping equipment, dietary needs, and deadlines. We had to be at campsites on specific days. We had to make it home in time for my son to start camp. And we had to make time for various bonus stops, like this one, which is Mason, Kansas, a 20-foot, biggest in the world painted Czech egg. I mean, you have to stop and see that. These logistics, those logistics are the type of thing that may pull me out of an intention of a pilgrimage. But this time, after we passed the egg, the land spoke louder than my busy monkey mind. The big sky and the mountains and rivers all extended out before us, and we were each able to surrender in our own way to their power and their beauty. A pilgrimage is a journey towards wholeness and remembering, both the physical and the spiritual. I've had the joy and challenges of taking 2 previous pilgrimages, one to Tibet and one to Peru. This year's trip would keep me here in the United States. That is a Tibetan glacier. I'm standing at 16,000 feet looking up when I took that picture. I live in the same town where I grew up. So my journeys have been outward, expansive, seeking the new or the unfamiliar. This is different than those whose lives have led them far from their homeland and whose pilgrimages may take them home, seeking the old, seeking to reconnect and to remember. Robin Wall Kimmerer, in her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, talks about her indigenous ancestors who were forced off their lands more than once, forced to relocate and learn new ecosystems, new environments, and new ways of life. How does a nation walk in beauty, in harmony with all that is, when the very land under their feet is stripped from them? Kimmerer writes of her academic journey, taking her actually further away from her roots as she earned her doctorate in botany. She learned the Latin names of all the plants, but she felt she was losing her relationship with the actual plants themselves. So she journeyed to find and make her new family home. She consciously chose a place that would help her return to her actual roots, ancestrally and the plant roots that she loved so much. And this journey took her near the Onondaga Nation, which were not her blood relatives, but an indigenous community in ways that helped bring her home to herself. So can a pilgrimage take us both away and home at the same time? For me, Pisac in Peru, there is that place. Have any of you felt that? That by traveling far, you remember a connection? Have you had help from the stars or the mountains, parts of nature that we can't access here because of light pollution and lack of mountains? Let's see if we can get, there's Zion up there. I have traveled for vacation, for work, for spiritual growth, but this year was my 3rd pilgrimage. Each of these 3 journeys had elements of discomfort, unfamiliarity, long distance and extended time away from home, and all of the comforts here. They each entailed hours and hours of preparation, mentally, physically, logistically. They contained sacrifice, the cost of my being away so long meant no income at my business. And my traveling group was isolated from all that was familiar. But each trip had family, friends, and clients here holding down the fort and reminding us how supported and loved we were. And that is a crucial piece that's often overlooked. I thank everyone who served this summer to keep the home fires burning. I've traveled to Peru several times. I've embarked on spiritual studies in Mexico, the American Northwest and Southwest, and those trips were deeply meaningful, even transformative, but they weren't pilgrimages. Many of us in this beloved community enjoy travel. How many of you have made a pilgrimage? Any hands? Yes, yes, there are some of you. And that again being a journey that started with the intention of bringing wholeness or remembering to the physical and spiritual aspects of yourself. Were some of those trips a return to your hometown? Any hands? Yes. Okay. And then some are then travels far and away. This is a return home to the self, whether you are going home or traveling far, and a deepening, a learning about the parts of us that we maybe never brought to the surface to meet and play with, reconnecting with forgotten parts as well. And so, with the pressure of having a destination and the expectation of a spiritual experience or an awakening or a healing, many of us get to the geographical destination and, well, it's just another shrine because there have been so many, or it's a big hole in the ground, or it was a really long walk and I'm tired and the sky is cloudy in Tibet every night, of which should have been a stargazer's delight. The clouds rolled in at 6 and they didn't leave till daybreak, and not one sunrise, not one sunset, no stars the whole time I was in Tibet, where there are also no light pollution effects. Even at 16,000 feet, no stars. The other thing that happens is our travels get rerouted, detoured, or our believed destination is not actually the destination. It's closed or it is inaccessible. Yes, it is amazing when we get to the planned destination and are blown away by its beauty or the vastness of it, or the sky is clear and I have the space and alertness to lie stargazing for hours, just breathing in and being with the darkness of night, the friendly twinkling of our galactic neighbors. But as you know, if you've traveled, that is not the standard. Luckily, as we age, we realize it's more about the journey than the destination, and that the journey home can be just as fruitful as getting there and being there at the destination. But what I find most interesting is that post-pilgrimage time when we are home and returning to our everyday lives and relationships. Sometimes that's bumpy, sometimes it's smooth, sometimes it's flat, sometimes it's vibrant. This is very individual, and even each pilgrimage brings a different type of return. So after the first 2 journeys I took, I came home conscious of how I restarted my daily life, what practices were let go, what new practices were integrated, how did my work change, or did it? Did my relationships shift? Was there a tangible change I could feel or point to as a result of the pilgrimage? I preemptively baked that space in and into the time of my return, and that is the best time to ask those meaningful questions. Well, this is America, and we are really, really good at returning home and jumping right back in. After all, our lives are waiting for us, and they have been untended while we've been away. I am aware of how jarring it's been to return to Wilmington after being out west or in a foreign country. It's very dense here, fast paced, unless we consciously say no and slow down. Can we muster the energy to find the beauty? Now, this time, as a working single mother of a teenager, I did not have the previous luxury of time and space to reintegrate. We returned home on a Saturday, and the very next Monday, my son started full 8-hour-a-day summer camp for the next 5 days. I know I didn't give him much of a transition, but the advantage of driving on this trip meant as we drove home, including up through Arkansas, Nashville, the Blue Ridge Mountains, we left the mountains behind. And then we noticed the size of the driving lanes got much smaller. And we were boxed back into our proper places. Then around Virginia and DC, we reacclimated to the density just by driving and getting all the way to the finish line here. But how can we ease back into that packed schedule of work and life here? A few weeks ago, Reverend Larry preached about how to take a soul fee. If you happen to miss that August 10th service, definitely prioritize watching that on our YouTube channel. There was a lot of humor and a whole bunch of really wonderful material about listening to one's soul. Or if the word soul is uncomfortable to you, he suggested using the word soulful, as in living soulfully. This sounds a lot to me like walking the path of beauty or the beauty way. Larry said, listening, asking the meaningful questions such as, where am I needed? And am I still learning and growing? This was about cutting through the daily distractions to engage oneself and the world around us with depth, relatedness, and finding soulful parts entwined in all aspects of our lives, even our dreams. That's part paraphrasing and part a quote of Reverend Larry. And then he cited Parker Palmer's work from his book, Hidden Wholeness, where he states that one's inner work has outer world significance. This is why there are pilgrimages. This is why we do all the other deepening, remembering, and wisdom work. This is why we seek nature, why we sit in silence or contemplative reflection. When we go deeper, those we meet in our lives are also then invited to go deeper. Pilgrimage helps widen our lens, not intellectually, but soulfully. This is not something we can think our way through. This is a felt sense. Earlier in the meditation part of the service, I asked you to smell, feel, hear, and taste your favorite place in nature. Bring in that lush and full experience of all your senses for a more soulful connection. This living soulfully connection, that call resonated with me on a very deep level, and it overlaps with my training as a shamanic practitioner. Carol Proudfoot Edgar, a teacher of mine and a founding grandmother of the Society for Shamanic Practice, wrote a poem describing soul retrieval. Soul retrieval is a shamanic modality of remembering and integrating one's being, parts of one's being that have broken off or gone missing and that are now returned. Here's her poem. An ageless shaman sped through the universe, found me wandering and brought me home. With the wind in her breath, she blew in my impish, dizzying, wise little young one, and as we met, sang, "Welcome home." The road's been different ever since, full of changing colors. So I gathered up. Now I can fly over meadows, down long grassy hills, and soaring great circles. Wild things surround me together, together humming love's praise. Humming love's praise. That is felt. That is the reconnection that I seek. And that is the remembering that gets clouded and crowded out of my everyday life. How wonderful it is when it's returned like a light switch from dark to light, from empty to full, from fractured to whole. But you can probably guess it isn't always like a light switch. For me, a pilgrimage is like a long, gradual soul retrieval. I go, I find these soul parts I've neglected, forgotten, or that have wandered off, and I bring them home with me. You can think of that literally or figuratively. It matters not. I come home, I return to work and family life, but it's different. I can't always say how or what. That's how the pilgrimage affects me. The other part of the return from pilgrimage work or soul retrieval is in turn how we affect others. Does it take my work deeper? How are others responding to me? Where is the invitation for others to go deeper? Are my relationships better tended both ways? How I answer questions from my clients, friends, acquaintances, is it more interconnected? And are the questions that I am asked more meaningful? This year, I've been able to be conscious about a few things as I've eased, or rather jumped back into life here. Where can I bring the beauty of Bryce or the surrender of Zion or the vastness of the Grand Canyon into my world? How can I keep those connections electric and relevant for both me and my son in whatever way he connected to those places? How can I reflect the new land and adventures that are also now part of me? I trust the wisdom of those places will bubble up and surface if I give it time and space. So I journal, I listen to new music that I was exposed to on the trip, I sort through the pictures and bring up the felt sense of the places we were, walk and hike in nature, reconnecting to our little part of Gaia, knowing that the trees here drink the rainfall from the clouds that absorb the water west of the Mississippi. All of it adds up, including my observations of others who have traveled here as their destination. I recall those who have visited Wilmington and felt the great power of the land that we call home. About 20 years ago, my company hosted a Toltec teacher and several of her apprentices. They arrived from New Mexico in late April and were astounded and thrilled, and they exclaimed, "The green! Everything is so green and so lush and so very green." It was like they landed in Ireland. I was like, but these high desert dwellers enjoyed their brief respite from the brown expanse and the unrelenting wind that was their everyday life. Our lush forest here saturated their depleted stores of delicate ferns, early May-apples, and soft grasses. Our visitors reminded me that the waters here, the old forests that serve as crucial ecosystems and resting places for the migratory birds. When I travel to the desert, I always bring a little bit in my heart of our Wilmington green trees and meadows and our babbling creeks. That I share with the wind and the big rocks, the altitude and that endless cobalt sky of the mountains. The more I am home integrating, the more deeply I feel what we affectionately used to call our seventh principle, honoring the interdependent web of life of which we are all a part. The more I reflect, the easier it is to bring up the felt sense in my body, and all the memories of the places I've been so lucky to visit. That's the Potala Palace in Tibet. The land I've been able to traverse has been so generous. For me, there is a joy in pushing far beyond where I grew up, studied, lived, and worked, and made my home. And each journey has built upon a previous one. It's easy for me to forget the wholeness of Gaia and her beauty at home, and that is the joy of distant travel. To all of the diverse beauty, to take it in and feel the spirit of a place, a land, to reconnect with that. Then here at home, which is beauty of a particular kind here, tucked between and under our housing developments and our commerce lots and roads. Our local beauty was so powerful for those apprentices 20 years ago. Such a powerful reminder of the beauty all around. So what reconnects you? And what if you cannot travel, but you feel the need to shift something soulfully? Sure, you could read about someone else's journey if that feels like that would be meaningful to you. You could maybe even set your intention to take a pilgrimage through history and take a course or read about a particular time and place. And afterwards, what have you learned? What has shifted for you? How can you take a biography and turn it into a memoir? That's the transformation of a pilgrimage. Even if it doesn't turn the light bulb on in a flash, I think of the monarch caterpillar, pupating in its chrysalis. That transformation is not quick, not without some challenging, probably painful shifts within and without. Giving it time and space, that chrysalis may bring a deeper and more sustained transformation in the end. And we know about transformation here at First U. It is part of our mission to transform the world through loving action. So I hope my musings today have brought some value to you. I am grateful for your attention and this beloved community. And as I close, I want to thank each person who shared a sermon this summer. We were gifted with messages, wise messages from visiting clergy, and our share of our congregants' strengths and passions as Reverend Larry took his leave for the summer. We are now prepared for a fruitful, soulful church year, thanks to everyone who volunteered and worked this summer to bring us beautiful services. I thank you for including me on this First Unitarian journey, and let's see where we go next. Blessed be.
Thank you, Kate, for setting forth the momentum toward next week and the fall that follows as First U commences another year, program year. I have a few announcements to that regard prior to our offering. The first three are with regard to next weekend, so you can kind of get your focus. Things that are happening either at First U or through First U or in connection with First U. Next Saturday, the 6th, at 2 p.m., from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., at the Theater N downtown near the DuPont Hotel, there will be the showing of a film called Other Side. It has to do with preparing for death. It will be followed by a post-screening Q&A with the filmmakers themselves and a special guest who is known to us, and that's our own Judy Gavados, who has been very active in Delaware's Death with Dignity legislation and having it recently signed into law by the governor. So that's on Saturday from 2 to 4 downtown. When you're finished with that, come back to the church because there will be an invitation to join our earth-based spirituality group, Circle of the Ash Tree Moon. You may have seen in e-news references to the Circle of the Ash Tree Moon. It will be in celebration of that full moon as an astrological sign of Pisces, and will be a time for honoring our animal companions, those present and those past. So if you wish to be a part of this, it's from 7 till 9 o'clock. I believe it's here at the church or somewhere nearby outside, whatever. You may, if you wish to remember a member of your family pet who has passed, bring a collar or a memento of some sort, a photo, whether your friend was furry, scaly, feathered, or other. The celebration will be led by Linda Sanders, who's organizing this, and she wants you to know that if you're interested, but if you're concerned that this will be uncomfortable or you won't understand, there will be very clear explanation about the process and the ritual. And as she adds, no experience is necessary. Finally, next Sunday, well, not quite finally, but next Sunday, we kick off the new year, programming year, during our regular worship service here at 10:30 with our annual in-gathering service. And this is also a Bring a Friend Sunday, and we will be observing the water ritual that has become our tradition. Oh, I have a quote here. You all come back home to First you hear? Finally, there's a sign-up table in Parish Hall for Soul Matters groups. Another of our ongoing resuming program. There are a number of them. You can get more information from the e-news and more information at the table in the back. Now, if all of that doesn't prepare your hearts for an offering, just remember when you leave the warm feeling that you have in your heart for having been a part of this fellowship. And if you haven't felt it yet, I hope you'll feel it in the next few moments when we have fellowship gathering in the parish hall as well. Would you join me in the dedication of our offering this morning? To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these offerings. If you have a chalice flame at home, we invite you to extinguish it along with our flame here in the sanctuary. We extinguish this chalice flame remembering those who have gone before us in service, faithfulness, and even sacrifice. While the work of their lives still echoes in ours, may we carry the spirit of the flame within us as we seek to follow the light of our faith. This is a notable day in our church life. Not only is it the last day of the month of August, it is also our minister's birthday. May we wish Reverend Larry the happiest of birthdays. We are so grateful for his leadership. Hope you come back next week when he's up here.
Yes, please do. And as James mentioned, next week is ingathering, so remember to bring your waters. Waters from your travels, from a special place, or even tap water if you have a symbolic water from a special place and want to bring it, and it will be shared in our ritual next week with our ingathering water ceremony. I thank you all for taking today's pilgrimage of a journey with me, and I would like us to all depart with the Navajo prayer. Beauty before me, may I walk. Beauty behind me, may I walk. Beauty above me, may I walk. Beauty all around me, may I walk. May we each walk in beauty. Blessed be. Our closing hymn is hymn 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. Please rise, embody your spirit, and join along.
Oh, the beauty
you.